he was a poised 14-year-old when we watched him play
Yeah.
against RD. He was not intimidated at all. He'll be playing against Greg Hatch on your right. We got mono blue, we got black green, and don't forget after this first game, we got a premium giveaway for you guys. As Milton is on a 5-card hand, Hatch is on 6. So not the ideal start here.
Also
for either player.
not the first 5-card hand that we've seen Zacarias had as
Also true.
And we're about to get underway.
And don't forget that premium giveaway after this first game. Patrick's got the question. I'll explain the rules, and we'll get there momentarily. But first, we will begin with game number 1 of our elimination rounds here in Oakland.
Zacarias with nothing, no elf, and no lot latrol early. Greg on the board, first with a Frostburn Weird.
And that is going to get out of here. Abrupt Decay going to take care of that. Want to keep that devotion count low. Make sure you can keep Thassa, stay away from getting active here. As Milton does not draw a 3rd land to be able to play a Boon Satyr in his hand. Hatch draws his card for the turn. Looks like it was a Judge's Familiar. Going to play an island here. And let's see see if he's got anything good to do this turn. Just a little birdie. And just pass the turn back. So Milton's going to take a draw step here. He's going to play a Elvish Mystic. I almost said Llanowar Elf.
Close enough.
Yeah. Going to pass the turn back here as Hatch is going to play a Tidebinder Mage and shut that down. Pretty nice play there. Another Judge's Familiar and get in for 1.
Then these Judge's Familiars do a very good job of protecting that Tidebinder Mage as well, which is really important.
It's going to have to be Abrupt Decay, a card that Milton has already used once. See, Milton does have another Abrupt Decay in his hand, so that's fortunate for him. He does have Boon Satyr, but again, 2 swamps and a forest, so cannot cast that right now as Hatch draws a card for the turn. It is an island. And this is a pretty good time to slam down Master Waves if he does have it.
Yeah, this feels like a good spot. And there it is.
Yeah. We'll probably see a response here of Abrupt Decay on the Tidebinder Mage to lower the devotion count, and that's exactly what you're going to see in response. Of course, Judge's Familiar not going to get any work done here, nor would I think it would want to. So Master Waves is going to resolve. Devotion check is 3, so we'll get 3 elementals coming into play. And I think we'll see a Hatch get in for 2 damage in the air as well. So a pretty good start here for Greg.
Yes. And this is a small drawback of the Golgari deck. The colored mana situation is a little rough. As you see, Zacarias with 2 swamps in play and uncastable Boon Satyrs in his hand.
Yeah. But he does have second green mana now, fortunately for him, so that's a good thing. That Elvish Mystic is going to be working overtime. So here's some mana. There's a Reaper of the Wilds, which does a nice job of blocking these elemental tokens and the Master of Waves, fortunately. Take a draw step here. You see Hatch's hand. He just draws another Judge Familiar, but he has another Master of Waves, and he's going to play this one pre-combat here. The reason, of course, is because it gets to pump up the other elemental tokens.
Yes.
It makes him into 3/2 attackers as opposed to 2/1. So that Master's going to resolve. He's going to get 4 more tokens.
And this is kind of the spot where if Greg was unaware of deck lists, he'd at least potentially have to tread lightly because of the fear of a main deck Golgari Charm. But deck lists get disseminated to the players before the top 8 starts, and so Greg knows that the coast is clear for this sort of move.
So that Master comes down, and now Greg says, let's get in the red zone. Let's start getting some damage across here. Yes, you do get the scry from that creature dying. That's fine, but in the process, you're going to take 3, 6, 7, 8 points of damage. You're going to go down to 11. And I just want to keep the pressure on and try to get this game over with, is what he's saying.
And the second Master critically protects his elemental tokens in play from a spot removal spell on a Master as well, so.
Yeah, good magic card.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
The second one's better than the first.
Yeah.
And the first one's not shabby.
Yeah, not shabby at all. So let's see what Milton is able to put together, if anything, here. Again, one of the things that makes it difficult for this black-green deck is just the mana on the deck is just, it's just not great.
And then there's also efficiency issues where it will often not be doing anything on the first couple turns and then be bottlenecked on 3 and 4 mana cards.
So now here's a Hero's Downfall. Going to target Master of Waves, so pay 1. All right, counter that Hero's Downfall. Now, one thing he did not do there, however, is he missed 2 scries there on the Reaper of Wilds.
I don't think it's a big deal because I believe that just leaves him dead on board.
Sure. Judge's Familiar going to come into play. Everybody's going to attack here. And Milton will pick up his card. So Greg Hatch is going to win game number 1 here over Zacarias Milton. Mono Blue Devotion up a game over Black Green Aggro as we are going to bring it back here to the booth because it is premium giveaway time. And with that premium, as I reach down here again, do you like Twitch? I like Twitch.
It's sweet.
I don't think we could do our job without Twitch.
That's correct.
Yeah, so yeah, Twitch is awesome. Twitch shirt, we're going to give away their premium giveaways as well this weekend, courtesy of Ben Schwartz, who does work at Twitch, so we do appreciate him and everyone over there at Twitch. I got to visit the offices yesterday in downtown San Francisco in the financial district. It is sweet.
Yeah.
They have a good time there. Those guys work hard, but they also play Street Fighter and Dota 2, not League of Legends. So, some, but not a ton. They like Dota 2. So, Patrick's going to ask you guys a question. You're going to get your Twitters ready. Hashtag SCG Premium with the answer. And we'll announce the winner at the conclusion of our quarterfinals, as we always do.
Yes, and remember, it's not about the first person who responds correctly. We draw from the entire pool of correct answers. So don't worry about punching in your answer first.
All right. Fire away, my friend.
There is a mechanic in Theros called Bestow. We have not seen a ton of it show up in constructed level play yet. There's one exception to this. It's featured prominently in Brian Kibler's Golgari deck, both as a castable threat and as a way to enhance your creatures. Name that card.
And if you can't name that card, hashtag answer SCG Premium. On Twitter, we, again, as Patrick said, we will draw from the people who do get it correct. So it is about accuracy, not speed, for 3 months of premium and a Twitch shirt. And again, we will announce the winner at the conclusion of our quarterfinals as we transition here back to the match. And we'll take a look at the sideboards here between Milton and Hatch. I'll take a look at Milton's here because he'll be on the play. I'll give you Hatch's. And what you're going to find here are 2 copies of Doomblade, 2 Gift of Orzhova, 3 copies of Golgari Charm, 3 Mistcutter Hydra, a Putrefy, 2 Ultimate Price, and 2 Underworld Connections. Now, the easy one, of course, is Mistcutter Hydra. That's certainly going to come in. Now, how many removal spells do you want to board in here? You've got 2 copies of Doomblade, a lot of good targets. So I think those are going to want to come in. Ultimate Price, I think I like that card, but the fact that it doesn't take care of Night Veil Spectre and how many spot removal spells do you want to have when you have 2 Doomblades that you're probably bringing in, 2 Ultimate Prices, 3 Abrupt Decay, 2 Heroes Downfall, a Putrefy. That's a lot of removal.
If I'm in Hatch's seat, if I'm in Zacarias' seat, I want as much removal as possible.
Okay.
I think the best game plan that he can sculpt is using removal spells to get out of the earlier turns and to break up some of Hatch's synergies down the road, and leading on Polukranos and Hydra to power him through the game. I think that's a really good setup here.
Well, then I guess that additional Putrefy is probably going to come in as well. Now, Gift of Orzhova, I don't think is going to get a lot of use here. Golgari Charm, while it is a makeshift removal spell, probably not going to get a lot of play here either. And then Underworld Connections, I think, is just far too slow.
Yeah, I really like a setup of a lot of removal spells and just leaning on Mistcutter Hydra and Polukranos as your power.
Okay.
Efficiency matters a lot here. On Greg's side, he has access to a Dispel and 3 Domestications. I don't think he wants 2 Rapid Hybridizations. I think are excellent here, specifically against Polukranos, but there's a lot of quality creatures in the green-black deck, Lotless Troll and Ferals, Scavenging Ooze, a lot of creatures he might want to kill somewhere down the line. He has 4 more Jaces, 2 Architect of Thought, and 2 Memory Adepts. If he thinks the matchup is going to go into a much more attrition-y place in the post-board games where Zacarias is going to have a ton of removal, he may want to lean a little bit more on Planeswalkers, but he does have to be wary of just getting attacked. The green-black deck is pretty fast to the board in some games, so you don't want to have hands that are entirely composed of Planeswalkers and Rapid Hybridizations. You still need a good base of creatures to attack and block with. And then 4 Gainsays, obviously not appropriate here, and then a Singleton Dissolve, which I don't think he'll want at all, and certainly will not want on the draw.
You see him taking the sideboard, certainly taking his time. One of the nice things about being in the top 8 again is the players do have access to the opponent's deck list here, so no more mysteries, no more secrets. You've got an idea of what the opponent's going to be doing here, and we believe that Milton will be sideboarding in a healthy amount of removal spells and certainly leaning on those Mistcutter Hydras to be able to get the job done here. Unsurprising to see that card in the sideboard, of course.
It's really good against blue cards.
Wow.
And the Blue Devotion deck is composed entirely of blue cards.
Oh, wow.
So deck building can be that simple sometimes.
We got a quick update here for you guys between Rob Mickness and John Mills. That's a red-white devotion versus mono-blue devotion. They're already in game number 3, and they're playing the winner of this match here. So we'll see how that ends up breaking down here. You predicted the mono-blue devotion would win that one. We do have a quick update as well in the 2-7 matchup, and that Joe Lissette, playing blue-white control, wins game number 1 over Jason Durantis, playing mono-black devotion. And that was one where we didn't know how it was going to go.
Yeah. It's funny, I was talking to Luis Scott Vargas at Grand Prix Albuquerque. The perception is, just the perception at large. is that for Esper, the Black Devotion matchup's quite bad,
Mhm.
and the Blue Devotion matchup is quite good. And Luis actually kind of had an opposite take, or not necessarily an opposite take, but he says he feels like the Black Devotion matchup is much better than the common consensus, and the Blue Devotion matchup is much worse than the common consensus. So it's possible those matchups are much actually closer to 50-50 in practice than the perceived reality, which is Black Devotion being heavily favored and Blue Devotion being heavily disadvantaged.
Sure. And if you're gonna believe somebody, I would believe the Hall of Famer.
He's not a bad source of information.
No,
for these
not at
things.
all. Not at all. Did you throw a pun or two in there while he was explaining that, or?
I don't know what you mean.
No. That's funny.
Again, we apologize to those of you who are hearing the music come in. There is a cover band performing in the room behind us, and they are quite loud. But they're also pretty
Quite good.
Yeah, they're also quite good.
They're,
So
they're loud, but they're good.
I'm not bothered by it, but I understand that it may be removing your immersion from the experience that's occurring right now. So our apologies.
Can't control everything. That's live TV, man.
It is live TV.
That's what makes it fun. Anything can happen. You can be at a Super Bowl and the lights can just go out.
Right.
And you just have to adjust on the fly. We got music in the back. What you guys don't see is, Patrick and our shoulders are kind of, they're moving a little bit.
Dude, I was definitely bobbing my head back and forth when the camera was on me when we came back. I'm not even being that discreet.
Uh-oh, now we got the Chain of Fools.
Chain
now.
of Fools.
Absolutely.
Great song.
Now, I should know who this is by. Who is this by? Do you know?
Is this Aretha Franklin?
I think that is, yes. I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
My dad would be very upset that I did not know that.
He
so.
is correct to be
Yep.
very upset for
Dad,
you
if
not
you
knowing.
were, Dad, if you're watching, I'm ashamed of myself right now. I am. You taught me better than that. Oh, we do have confirmation here
Yeah.
from our director here that it is by Aretha Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The cover band. Okay, I was going to say they do it better, but they don't. Nobody does,
come on.
Nobody does it like Aretha.
Aretha's the greatest singer of all time. Let's
Whoa,
not-
whoa,
Mhm.
whoa. Do you realize some of the things you said this weekend?
Yeah, Mutavault's the best card in Standard, which is just correct. And then Aretha Franklin is the best singer of all time, which is, again, just correct. And even more so than Mutavault is the best card in Standard. The margin of Aretha Franklin to the second best singer of all time is wider than the margin between Mutavault and the second best card in Standard.
All right.
Okay,
Okay.
so
Book it.
book it.
That's it. No argument can be had otherwise.
Yeah, don't even bother.
Who is the second best singer of all time?
I would have to think about it.
All right. Beyonce?
No, probably
No,
not.
definitely not. Definitely not. That's a good, wow. Okay, Aretha is really good.
She's really
Yeah,
good.
She's really good. All right. I give it to you. Both players shuffling up here. Greg meticulously organizing his hand. Look at this. This is a method here.
He has, I don't want to call, OCD is a very strong term for things, but he has a way of organizing things that is very particular to him.
Milton going to be on the play here as he is down a game, so let's see if he's happy with his opening hand or not. I can't tell. When he did mulligan, he mulliganed quickly. He's going to mulligan again. Now, he did mulligan to 5 in the first game, and Hatch is going to mulligan as well. So both players are having some difficulty keeping 7-card hands here.
Yeah, and I think these mulligans are much rougher on the green-black deck because there's just so many more ways for the draw to fail. Insufficient mana, both color and density, or just too much removal, not enough creatures, or vice versa. The mono blue deck is much more streamlined. I'm sure Hatch would be very happy for each player to start the game at 6 cards rather than 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So away we go to Mulligan Town. See if Milton can find a better starting hand. He's had some difficulty thus far.
He's had a lot of mulligans on camera so far. He had a
Yeah.
mulligan to 5 against Sam, a mulligan to 5 game 1 here, and now another mulligan.
Well, if it's any consolation, I'm sure this kid does want to win the
But I
tournament.
gotta say, the kid looks unflappable.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, hey, you just earned a qualification to Vegas Invitational. That's a big game.
A maturity at the table that belies his young age.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I'm not even that mature now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I'd be just throwing my deck in the trash can already if I mulligan 5 times in 4 games.
I
on
call
camera.
that the Jason Ford. That's what that is. Yeah. Patrick, stop dancing.
I can't help
Get
it.
control of yourself. It's
I'm
just
sorry.
Chain of Fools.
And don't say just Chain of Fools. don't say just Mutavault.
All right, 6 cards.
All right.
Milton is happy. happy enough at least. We'll see how Hatch does. All right, showtime. Overgrown Tomb to start.
That's in a subtle way very important, as it means he'll likely be able to cast his spells this game.
Yeah. Quick update for you guys as this game does progress. Rob Mickness with Red-White Devotion does defeat John Mills in Mono Blue Devotion. So the 5 seed moves on. We've got one player through here.
Zacarias, no play on turn 3. Suspiciously holding up Boon Satyr mana.
Again, the winner of the winner of this match will be playing against Rob Mickness in the next match. So Rob will be an eager watcher here as the Nightveil Spectre is abruptly decayed.
And Overgrown Tune untapped.
Now you see Hatch is boarded in Domestication here. The question is how many targets does he have for that card? I tell you, that's not one of them.
Yeah, Domestication might have showed up to the wrong fight today.
Yeah. I mean, there certainly are some good Domestication targets hanging out here. Again, Scavenging Ooze, depending on when you get it, Verils, Lotless Troll.
They're all very timing sensitive. The
Yeah.
window is not long for most of those cards, and the green-black aggro deck has a plethora of large creatures that are well outside of domestication range. So.
And the one that has been cast here in Pelucranos is that's just a really good card in this matchup.
Yep. A lot of pressure, breaks up Master Waves. I mean, the Mono Blue deck has a lot of ways to get tricky with Cyclonic Rifts and Rapid Hybridizations to fight it, but it does put a lot of pressure on the blue deck in a variety of ways.
Now Thassa going to show up, so Greg is behind the 8-ball here, but Thassa can actually help him catch up in controlling those draw steps. Pelucranos is likely ready to get into the red zone here, and you see a Mistcutter Hydra being brought to the forefront here from Milton, so this is an excellent mulligan for him.
Yeah.
He's got to Reaper the Wilds, too. But one thing you can definitely tell is how high his curve is after the sideboard.
A lot of 4s.
Yeah. So now Pelucranos is going to come into the red zone, and I actually like this play a lot here from Milton of playing the Reaper pre-combat, so that if Hatch does have a Rapid Hybridization, and he's got to do it in response. So I'm going to be trying to Mize a free Scry here. And now here is Rapid Hybridization targeting that, so Scry. So it's good sequencing there by Milton.
Yeah,
and a bit of a misstep on Hatch's end.
Yeah, absolutely. If Hatch wanted to use that hybridization there, it should have been in response to Reaper, not once it's in play.
14, huh? We'll see
14.
about that.
Someone check his ID.
All right, Scry for the Thassa.
Show me your library card.
Yeah. Do kids even go to libraries anymore? I have no idea. I didn't go to library when I was a kid.
I think that's a totally dated reference.
Yeah.
By this point, I have no idea, but...
There's Domestication. Going to take that beast. That's important, too, for multiple reasons. I mean, it slows down the clock a little bit, number one. Number two is the devotion check on Thassa now is we're up to 3.
And he has
2 to go.
And he has potentially a green chump blocker for Hydra down the line as well. So
now Reaper's going to come into play and attack with the other Reaper. So Hatch is going to go down to 16. And of course that Frog just won't be able to get in the red zone now. But what Hatch is doing is he's just trying to build a devotion for his master to be relevant and all the other stuff that goes along with that.
yeah. But we should, make it very clear, Hatch is still definitely behind the ball here.
Oh, yeah.
And every removal spell that Zacarias draws or has in hand at this point is devastating for Hatch. The only way he can get his head above water is by building up some sort of board, and it's going to be challenging against all the spot removal that Zacarias has access to.
Yep. So you see Hatch taking his time with this Scry. This one's definitely got a huge impact on the game. And he's going to draw that card. So, 1, 2, and 3. Feels like a Nightveil, maybe? Yep. That's going to turn on Devotion now. And so now, Thassa's going to get in the red zone. We might get ourselves into a bit of a racing situation here, Patrick.
Yep, and Thassa is a 5/5 indestructible with the ability to make multiple things unblockable. Very well equipped for a damage race. It's a big, sort of gut check right now. Zacarias really needs a removal spell to prevent this game from slipping away.
And now we know he has that Mistcutter Hydra. It looks like he drew a Pelucranos this turn as well. So creatures aren't the problem. That's the easy part.
And again, the issue really is efficiency. I think that if Zacarias loses this game, it's likely to be with multiple cards in hand that he just didn't have enough time to deploy.
So now he's in the tank, or is he falling asleep?
Yeah,
No, okay, he's here.
just nodding off.
I
It's
guess
been a long day.
Yeah.
This is, I don't think Zacarias can afford to add another creature at this point. I think it needs to be.
Well, I like getting in the red zone with. I mean, I think I want to get in with both. Maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, I think he might have a pretty reasonable edge over time if he is able to wait, because this controls so much of what Gregory Hatch is able to attack with this turn.
Okay.
If Zacarias has a removal spell, which is reasonable to assume here, then Thassa gets shut off inside of combat. Any other attack that he wants to make, I guess the Night Veil Spectre gets to hit, but the Mutavault or the 3/3 requires Greg to be using mana, and Zacarias has a little bit more control over the race. Maybe gives him more time to draw lands because he has that Hydra in hand. That could be an important swing as well. So.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see. You know, right now both players are kind of jostling for position, and both players are trying to dictate the pace of the game, but neither one wants to give up, you know, the kind of the stranglehold. And you know, one of the players wants to force the pace more than the other. So it'll be kind of interesting to see who gets to do that. So you see Hatch has resolved his scry now, and a couple things running through his head. I mean, he's got a Master Waves in his hand. That is certainly appealing to want to cast, but I think he also has a Night Veil Spectre, and he's probably saying to himself, I want to keep Devotion too.
This is insurance for Thassa if he goes down this road.
And Night Veil Spectre is going to come into play, so the insurance for Thassa is here, and now he's going to go reaching for the original Night Veil Spectre and Thassa into the red zone. Again, with Reaper of the Wilds, it can't regenerate. It gets Death Touch, and it gets Hexproof.
Yeah.
Regeneration is not one of the keywords there. Mana being tapped. What do we have here? We've got a Hero's Downfall. Going to take care of that Spectre. Is he willing to take 5 more? Taking 5 is very dangerous here.
Yeah.
Hatch going to play a backup Mutavault, pass a turn back. Because Thassa's Devotion is still good to go. You see Milton moves a Dreadmangler to his hand.
And without any removal, if Zacarias has no removal, Hatch has set up a lethal board, in essence, with Thassa and his 3/3 token and the ability to make them both unblockable.
Boy, is it tough to go for, though. Like, if there's open mana there, on Milton's side, it's really tough to go for. Just like unblockable, try to kill you. Because if you're wrong, you might just die in the counter swing.
Yeah.
And, you know, this kid's been pretty good about hiding information about what he's got in his hand. He hasn't really given away anything. This is interesting, too, because he's going to play Mistcutter Hydra for 1.
Okay.
You would think that's not the best use of Mistcutter Hydra here, but he wants to be able to keep mana open, I think, to try to bluff things. So there you do see the Mistcutter Hydra. Coming across for 4 with the Reaper.
I mean, Hatch can... is this an attempt by Milton to just bluff an Abrupt Decay?
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a bluff of a removal spell here. But there's a pretty narrow... Well, I guess it's not a narrow range because for Hatch, because Milton is at 8, he has to attack with all of his creatures to try to kill him, right? I guess he doesn't have to attack with the Spectre. He can just say unblockable on my Thassa, unblockable on the Beast token and try to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Hatch tapping some mana here, so he looks like he's going to fire a Mutavault. He's going to block. Okay.
We see a couple scry triggers here for Milton off of his Reapers.
And Hatch can't afford. I was thinking maybe he could do a double block with Mutavault and the Beast token, but he can't afford to do that because if the domestication's gone, then Devotion count's gone.
Yeah.
So he can't afford to do that.
Hatch is kind of in this weird spot where he needs to keep all of his pieces, and certainly if he is willing to believe Zacarias' attempt to signal Abrupt Decay as well, then all of his blue mana is so critical.
All right, so we're on the upkeep now. Time to scry. Really a tough decision here. Bottom shelf on the scry. take a draw. Does he go for it? Because I'm fairly sure from what we've seen from Milton that he just doesn't have an answer in his hand, and Hatch does not go. Oh well, okay, this is interesting, right? So now Tiebinder Mage comes in. It's going to tap Reaper.
So is now the plan just to animate Mutavault?
Does that do anything?
Well, it means that Abrupt Decay doesn't. I mean, there's no way for Zacarias to break up Devotion, correct? I guess he has a block plus Abrupt Decay in this world, so yeah, that doesn't even.
And if he does fire Mutavault, it's a 2/2. So the attacking for Hatch would put the Milton would block the Thassa with the Mistcutter, and then we attack for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It would put Milton down to 1, so it wouldn't be lethal.
Yeah, and Milton's really selling this bluff here too, because he could have given his Reaper hexproof in response to the Tiebinder Mage and said no. I don't know if it's in his hand, but if it's not, this is a really impressive sequence.
Yeah. You see, Hatch is really considering the options here about what to do.
And now he's going.
He's scribbling something down. I have no idea what this is doing.
God knows what right now.
A little retry. I've seen some things at the table in my day. This is new.
Maybe he's asking if Abrupt Decay is non-land.
Oracle text on the card. Does he have Abrupt Decay in his hand?
Please tell me if he has Abrupt Decay in his hand. Because this attack's a lot easier if I know whether or not he has Abrupt Decay in his hand or not.
I think the question, and he's also, he's writing it down and asking the judge in such a fashion that he doesn't give away the information that he's asking. That's exactly why he wrote it down. He also could have pulled the judge away from the table and asked him, but why get up when you don't have to?
Right.
That's what I always say. Never hustle.
Who do I got to impress,
That's right.
Where am I going? And, there's a lot of variables here. There's the, Hatch also has to be worried about a second second Hydra potentially.
It's getting interesting here now. So he's just gonna send these guys. Yeah, he's not sure how he wants to attack.
He just does not want to take his hands off those cards.
No. And now Thassa might be hanging back on defense, which makes sense because Mistcutter would block it anyway. But
I think if he attacks with Thassa, he has to make it unblockable.
I think I agree with you too. I mean, could he just simply make an attack in the air here for 2 and just resolve the trigger on Nightveil Spectre and just that be it? He could slow down.
Maybe. Certainly a lot of lines available to him here. But he sort of wants to avoid combat to some extent because the biggest risk to him losing this game is if his devotion gets shut off. So he's somewhat married to trying to keep as many permanents in play as possible, which makes him loath to want to try to be blocking things.
So now here's your attack. And I think he makes Thassa unblockable. And so he does it. What this makes it is it's a lethal attack. Thassa's going to come across for 5. Spectre is going to come across for that's 7. And then if he doesn't have a removal spell, he has to block. And okay. So he doesn't have a removal spell. Okay. All right. So Ultimate Price is going to take care of the token, and then that means that 3. Okay, so Devotion's still intact because of Tiebinder Mage. So now he's going to go down to 1. Will Milton. Top card. Ooh. And this is a big deal. He missed the scries from the Reaper. Yeah, that's a really big deal.
Well, it isn't. He wouldn't be able to keep the best card anyway because the Nightveil Spectre
sure.
would resolve last, so.
Three mana. Is it Dreg Mangler, maybe? I mean, the problem here is if it's not a removal spell, it's Thassa killing you.
Yeah.
And that's a Dreg Mangler.
And, yeah. I think Zacarias is aware of the writing on the wall here. He cannot generate lethal, shut off Devotion, or stop Thassa.
I think what he's hoping is that Hatch will block here, but Hatch is not facing a lethal attack, so this is an attack here for 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, there's nothing really bad that can happen here by taking this.
Yeah, at least to my knowledge. And Hatch has access to the deck list and certainly looked it over. So he's going to go down to 5. And now Milton is going to play that Elvish Mystic, which is kind of like waving the white flag, unfortunately, for him. As Hatch is going to quickly untap, he's going to resolve his Scry. It's a Judge's Familiar. And you know that feeling there when someone quickly untaps and they know they've got you beat. And he just says unblockable on something.
Hatch, he's tapped out, man.
And he's going to get in the red zone. Hey, always careful, and that is going to do it. So Gregory Hatch is going to defeat Zacarias Milton 2-0. Mono to blue devotion. We're moving on to the semifinals here. Greg Hatch will be playing against Rob Mickness, who is playing red-white devotion. So